Hi, my friends. It's so fun that we get to do this again. Well, hello and welcome to the library online. I hope you are having fun at home. I sure miss your faces. And here is the weird holiday for the day. It is Happy Lamp Day. And here we do a lot of sign language, so everybody get your fingers ready. This is the table, and this is where the lamp sits, and this is the light. This is a sign for lamp. Happy Lamp Day. And of course, now we have to read a book that has to go with our weird holiday of Mary Had a Little Lamp. Mary Had a Little Lamp, written by Jack Lechner and illustrated by Bob Stake. Mary had a little lamp, the bendy gooseneck kind, and everywhere that Mary went, she dragged the lamp behind. Kind of silly. She loved to draw a circle with a pencil round its base. She loved to feel its metal shade so cool against her face. She loved its quiet company. It never picked a fight. She loved its neck, she loved its cord, and most of all, its light. She took the lamp to school one day to teach it how to spell, but when she tried to plug it in, the teacher tripped and fell. She took it to the playground and she put it on a swing. She tried to push it higher, but it only broke a spring. That Mary must be crazy, all the other children cried. She really thinks her lamp is gonna make it down the slide? Do you think it's gonna make it down the slide? Yes or no? We just don't get it. Why a lamp? Her worried parents said. We told her she could have a dog, but she wanted this instead. Their doctor said, I've never seen so puzzling of a condition. But lamps are not my specialty. You need an electrician. If Mary felt embarrassed, then she never let it show. So everywhere that Mary went, the lamp was sure to go. She took it to the movies and her cousin Debbie's wedding. She took it out for Chinese food. She even took it sledding. She took it to the baseball game, the circus, and the zoo. And when she went to bed each night, the lamp got tucked in too. But then, one summer, Mary's parents sent her off to camp. And Mary did the strangest thing. She didn't take her lamp. She spent the summer swimming and canoeing, and she found that she could have a lot of fun without the lamp around. Well, ever since she came back home, the lamp's been on the shelf, and Mary's found another way to occupy herself. Now, Mary doesn't take the lamp out sledding on her coaster. She's much too big for stuff like that. Now Mary has a toaster. Don't you love that book? Kind of a silly book, which those are the best kinds of books. Okay, now to the best part of library is the wonders. And the very first wonder is kind of disgusting. So if you don't like creepy, crawly things, you might not like this wonder. The very first wonder, somebody asked, I wonder what is the world's biggest spider. It is called a South American Goliath bird eater. It's actually called a bird eater because it literally is so big it can eat a bird and mice and rats and other rodents. This thing is huge. It literally can get up to 30 centimeters long. Can you imagine something this big crawling all over you? Ooh. And speaking of can you imagine it, is actually a very popular pet. So if you like creepy crawly things, you might want a pet like this guy. And he likes to crawl on. Oh, it just gives me the chills. But yeah, that is the answer to the biggest spider in the world. On to number 2, which is not disgusting. It's actually adorable. I wonder what is the smallest bird in the world. It is called the bee hummingbird, which can only be found in Cuba, which I wish so bad it was here, but it's not. And it measures only 2 1/4 inches. Look at that. That is how big a bee hummingbird is. And it's funny because they say a lot of people see them, but they're often confused with bees. They think, oh, it's just a bee getting something from the flower, but it's not. It's an actual little tiny bird. And if you are home like you are, go and see if you can find a dime and put it in the palm of your hand and see how heavy it is, because that's how much these bee hummingbirds weighs, is as much as a dime, which that is tiny. Our third wonder of the week actually is my wonder. So since it's National Lamp Day, I wanted to talk about who invented the lamp, who invented the light bulb. And it is by one of my most favorite inventors, and it is Thomas Edison. And this is an adorable picture of when he was a little boy, and yes, it is really his picture. Thomas Edison was born on February 11th, 1847, and he was the very youngest of 7 children, and that is a lot of brothers and sisters. He was one of the most famous inventors in America. When he was very young, he got so sick and with such a high fever, it actually made him partially deaf. I wonder if he knew sign language just like you do. He did not do good in school, so his mom was his teacher. He was doing homeschool just like you guys are, which is so cool that you can connect with Thomas Edison. What are you doing at home that maybe Thomas Edison did as well? One thing I hope you're doing just like he did, he loved to read books. And that's how he learned a lot of things about some of his most famous inventions. Edison often entertained himself by taking things apart to see how they worked. Soon he decided to become an inventor. How many of you at home kind of love taking stuff apart, kind of figuring out how they work? Well, if you are like that, you can also connect with Thomas Edison that way as well. When he was 12, he started his very first job at a publishing and selling newspapers. At 15, he became a tramp telegrapher, which he did messages with Morse code. When he was 22, he filled his very first patent. And these pictures are kind of some of his most famous inventions. But the most famous invention is what we know him for, is the invention of the light bulb. Now, he wasn't the first that came up with the idea of the light bulb. He was the one that perfected it. He's the one that literally created the light bulbs we have today. And I found this really cute little video to kind of explain how he made up the invention. And here we go.
Storybots.
Storybots presents Great Innovator. One gloomy night in Menlo Park, Tom Edison said, "Gee, it's dark." But then he had a brilliant thought. Electric lights would help a lot. Now others too had tried their best to build a bulb that passed the test, and yet their light would never last. The glowing part burned out too fast.
"I see,"
Said Tom.
"I must invent a better, stronger filament."
At first he tried some metal wire, which melted, broke, or caught on fire. So next he tested strips of wood, and every single plant he could. He had to char them first, he learned, to make them glow but not get burned. Grasses, reeds, and weeds galore. He tried 6,000 kinds and more. He had some luck with cotton thread, but then he tried bamboo instead. It filled the room with dazzling rays. What's more, it lasted 50 days. And now the light bulb's golden glare is seen in houses everywhere. New York and London, France, Brazil. The bulbs keep getting better still. They light the night when day is done, all thanks to Thomas Edison.
Well, a fun little story to kind of explain to you how hard he worked to get the light bulb to work. This is one of my most favorite quotes by him. It says, "I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." He tried and tried and tried, and he failed a lot. He failed 10,000 times, but he never gave up. And now, because of his perseverance and not quitting, we have the light bulbs that we have today. So, don't give up. You never know what you're going to invent next. Well, I hope you guys are having fun at home. I miss your faces. I hope you are reading and having so much fun. Keep reading. See you later.